In the book of Revelation, St. John is having a vision of heaven. And right after the Ark of the Covenant appears, John writes this: And a great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. She was pregnant and was crying out in birth pains and the agony of giving birth. And another sign appeared in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon, with 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his head 7 diadems. His tail swept down a third of the stars of heaven and cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was about to give birth, so that when she bore her child, he might devour it. She was giving birth to a male child, one who is to rule all the nations with a rod of iron. But her child was caught up to God and to his throne. So, there's this crowned woman who is giving birth to a son. Then the dragon, who later in verse 9 is identified as Satan, tries to devour the son. The son is identified as the one who is to rule all the nations with the rod of iron, which is Christ. Then at this point, God takes up the child. So, who is the crowned woman? Well, the woman is multiple things. Revelation, as Jimmy Akin describes, uses fusion imagery and polyvalent symbolism. For example, the 7 heads of the beast are said to be both 7 mountains and 7 kings. The point is that the woman can be multiple things. Some Protestants argue that the woman is Israel, and that's totally valid. There's no reason you can't think that the woman represents multiple things. And seeing the woman as Mary is very straightforward. Mary gave birth to Christ, and the woman here gave birth to Christ. So it seems like a pretty obvious connection. Plus, the child represents a real divine person, namely Christ, and the dragon represents a real demonic person, namely Satan. So why not think that the woman represents a real human person, namely Mary? Now, a Protestant might respond, if Mary is the woman in Revelation 12, then why does she have birth pangs? Catholics believe that Mary was sinless, and birth pains is an effect of the fall. Hence, Mary would not have birth pains. Yet the woman in Revelation 12 has birth pangs. So either Mary is not sinless, or Mary is not the woman in Revelation 12. Good objection, but there's a couple problems with this line of reasoning. For one, there is debate among Catholic theologians on whether this is an official church teaching or just an opinion that Catholics can hold to. So even if Mary had birth pangs, that wouldn't necessarily disprove Catholicism. Second, many things in Revelation are metaphorical or symbolic. So perhaps the woman's birth pangs are symbolic. Indeed, the pain of birth is used metaphorically elsewhere in Scripture, as in Galatians 4:19 and Isaiah 26:17 through 18. So interpreting this metaphorically is a valid move. Maybe it's metaphorical of Mary's special pain, referred to in Luke 2:35. Or maybe it refers to the fact that Mary saw her son crucified. Maybe not. Either way, birth pains are used metaphorically elsewhere in Scripture, and it is located in a book full of metaphor. So why not interpret Mary's birth pains metaphorically? Third, because of the fusion imagery of Revelation, the birth pangs may be an aspect of the woman as Israel, or whatever else you interpret the woman to be, and not an aspect of the woman as Mary. For example, the 4 living creatures John sees around God's thrones are a fusion of elements from the cherubim seen in Ezekiel and the seraphim seen in Isaiah. So in Revelation 12, a woman gives birth to Christ. A very natural reading of this is to interpret the woman as Mary. The child is a real divine person. The dragon is a real person. And so why not think that the woman is a real person, namely Mary?